Good morning and welcome to today's New York City Council hearing for the Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste Management. At this time, if everyone can please silence their electronic devices. If you wish to submit testimony, you may at testimony@council.nyz.gov. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Good morning, everyone. I am Chair Sean Abreu. Welcome to the Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste Management's oversight hearing on the city's infrastructure to handle and process organic waste. Thank you, members of the committee, the Department of Sanitation, and advocates for joining us today. Composting programs are vital to our city's waste diversion and sustainability goals. The food waste that we send to rot in landfills every day ends up emitting greenhouse gases and worsening our climate crisis. The more of it we can divert towards beneficial reuses, the better for us as a city and planet. We are already living with the effects of climate change here in New York City. Extreme weather conditions have damaged our homes, endangered our health, tested and destroyed our infrastructure, and made our day-to-day lives less comfortable. We can't afford to wait any longer on making progress towards achieving zero waste. The city has committed to sending zero waste to landfills by 2030, but we have made little progress to achieve that goal. Our waste diversion statistics are deeply disappointing compared to other sizable cities such as Phoenix and Seattle. To get there, we must take seriously our waste diversion goals and organics programming. What cannot be reused must be recycled. The proper disposal and processing of organic waste reduces the amount of refuse sent to landfills, cuts down on emissions, and ultimately saves our city money as we realize the benefits of reusing organic materials. Composting, in particular, offers a way to support our agriculture and transform our waste into a valuable and marketable product. This is not the time to diminish support for the critical work of community composters. There is no justification for delaying until the last possible moment the implementation of curbside collection of organic waste. I want to take a moment to uplift the work of community groups that have envisioned a different future for this city and that have fought tirelessly to make it a reality. I see you here today, and I thank you for joining us. We are here because of all the people who have fought to organize, who have volunteered their time and resources, and who have rallied to establish the composting infrastructure that we have today. It is thanks to these community groups that we were able to build the momentum that helped us expand DSNY's curbside collection of organic waste. It is unacceptable, and I must say it is unacceptable, that despite all the work that's been done to build up the city's composting infrastructure and educational outreach, we are facing budget cuts that could reverse the progress these groups have made. I want to be clear. The city already spends hundreds of millions of dollars on organics right now by sending it to landfills and incinerators. With organics collection set to go citywide later this year, it's incumbent upon us to strengthen the programming that we know works and keep fighting for expansion, transparency, and stakeholder involvement in what could be the most successful organic diversion program in the country if done right. During today's hearing, I want to learn about the city's long-term plan to support community composting. We need to work together to develop solutions so that the community groups who administer these programs, important programs, can plan their futures and continue delivering localized, culturally competent, and engaging composting programs. I also want to learn about the actions that the city is planning to take to prioritize composting for the processing of organic waste as required by law. I look forward to hearing testimony from DSNY, environmental justice advocates, and other interested groups who can offer any advice for how the city could be doing more to reduce waste and how to protect composting as an important part of the city's work to process organic waste. I would like to thank everyone on my team and council staff for their work on these bills and for their efforts in moving this committee forward. I would also, when they get here, I'd like to acknowledge some of my colleagues. In addition to conducting oversight on the city's infrastructure to process organic waste, We will be hearing intro number 55, sponsored by Councilmember Sandy Nurse, in relation to requiring the Department of Sanitation to accept commercial solid waste as city-owned or operated marine transfer stations and rail stations. Intro number 97, sponsored by Councilmember Sandra Ung, in relation to increasing civil penalties for repeated littering violations. A pre-considered intro sponsored by Councilmember Lincoln Ressler in relation to public organic waste receptacles, and a pre-considered resolution sponsored by Councilmember Sandy Nurse calling upon the Department of Sanitation and the Department of Parks and Recreation to continue to engage and collaborate with local communities to encourage and allow community composting to be carried out on parkland. I'll wait for my colleagues to get here so they can speak about their bills. Today, we will begin with hearing with testimony from DSNY, followed by members of the public. I will now turn it over to our committee counsel to administer the oath.
Thank you. My name is Morgan Barrett, Committee Counsel for the Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste Management. Our first witnesses will be from the Department of Sanitation, First Deputy Commissioner Javier Lohan, Deputy Commissioner of Public Affairs and Customer Experience Joshua Goodman, Chief of Staff and Deputy Commissioner of External Affairs Ryan Marola, and Director of the Bureau of Recycling and Sustainability Kate Kitchener. I will now administer the oath. Please raise your right hands. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee, and to respond honestly to council member questions? Thank you. You may begin when ready. And I'm sorry, just one moment to, so we can recognize.
I would like to recognize colleague Susan Schwang, Councilmember Schwang, and Councilmember Ung.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Abreu and the members of the Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste. I am Javier Lohan, the First Deputy Commissioner for the New York City Department of Sanitation. I am joined today by my colleagues Joshua Goodman, Deputy Commissioner for Public Affairs and Customer Experience, Ryan Marola, Chief of Staff and Deputy Commissioner for External Affairs, and Kate Kitchener, Director of the Bureau of Recycling and Sustainability. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on a topic of deep importance to DSNY, the handling and processing of compostable material. This waste stream is everything from the kitchen and everything from the yard, accounts for about 1/3 of what New Yorkers throw away. 8 million pounds of residential waste each day. For more than 2 decades, past administrations have been working to achieve citywide composting and make the separation and diversion of this food waste and yard waste go mainstream. Today, despite a massive fiscal challenge, the Adams administration is on track to do just that. Keep the material out of the landfills where it contributes to climate change, and instead to process it and put it into beneficial use here in New York City, both as compost to beautify our parks and gardens and as renewable energy to heat our homes. In the process, we are getting it out of the black bags, off our streets, out of our landfills, and away from the rats. In August 2022, after years of stops and starts, delays, and unfulfilled commitments from the city, Mayor Adams committed to making curbside composting work and treat this important service part of the core function of DSNY, instead of a small niche program that is difficult for the public at large to access. The development and implementation of the largest, easiest curbside composting program ever was no small feat, and many of the advocates and elected officials in this room helped make it happen. DSNY distributed tens and thousands of bins, sent hundreds and thousands of mailers, and purchased 158 net new collection trucks as part of this historic investment in making this program work. As a result, every resident of Brooklyn and Queens now receives this service every week on the recycling day, and this October, the administration will extend this universal service to the Bronx, Manhattan, and Staten Island, making curbside composting citywide as promised. The most important thing about this program is its simplicity. There is no need for sign-ups, no special dates to remember, or specific locations to visit within limited hours. Simply place your materials out on the recycling day and we'll ensure they're put to good use. This is a composting program for all New Yorkers. Make the separation of compostable material easy and people will do it. And we have numbers to back this up. In fiscal year 2023, DSNY diverted a record 211 million pounds of compostable material from landfills an incredible increase from just over 150 million pounds the year before. This is a testament to the value of simple universal programs, especially given that it includes only a part of our ongoing citywide rollout. These kinds of programs not only improve the customer experience, they are more efficient than smaller programs because of the economies of scale. We are now collecting more compostable material with fewer truck routes than in old programs. The ease of use of principle holds true for our network of nearly 400 smart composting bins across the 5 boroughs, where residents can drop off their compostable material 24/7 through an easy-to-use smartphone app. These bins are serviced 6 days a week and have proven to be very popular. We are also on track to bring curbside compost collection to every Department of Education school by the end of this school year, giving the next generation of composters familiarity with the ease and importance of this program. Material collected through each of these initiatives, curbside residential collection, smart bins, and schools, is put to beneficial use, either through composting or through anaerobic digestion. The department produces tens of millions of pounds finished compost every year at the Staten Island compost facility, where weeks ago, Mayor Adams and Commissioner Tisch cut the ribbon on a major expansion. The 33-acre site is now permitted to take up 165 million pounds of composted material per year, and as a result of the new technology on site, can process it in half the time it used to take, weeks rather than months. While the city has sufficient permitted and contracted capacity to process compostable material from a citywide program, we are currently engaged in a procurement to distribute that capacity more evenly across the region. City procurement rules limit the extent to which we can talk about future status of processing infrastructure for putrescible waste, but beneficial use and waste equity are both key to our long-term planning. I would like now to turn to the series of bills that are on the agenda today. The first is Introduction 55, sponsored by Councilmember Nurse, which would require the city to accept commercial waste at city-owned and operated marine transfer stations. Only 2 of the city's transfer stations have any additional capacity, the 91st Street MTS and the Southwest Brooklyn MTS. However, there are significant costs that come with this approach, which make requiring this approach impractical. DSNY would have to add additional city and vendor staff to process waste on the new shift overnight. In addition, our export contracts with substantial built-in redundancy and an emphasis on rail and barge export are not cheap. Our facilities may not be competitive with private transfer stations in New York City and the larger metro area. As it stands now, requiring DSNY to take commercial waste under any circumstance is cost prohibitive. The second is Introduction 97, sponsored by Councilmember Ung, which would increase the civil penalties for businesses that have failed to clean their sidewalk or 18 inches into the street, or from removing obstructions from the sidewalk. The bill will raise the amount of the first fine that DSNY issues and increase the second and third fines. In September, Commissioner Tisch urged this body to increase the amounts for the first, second, and third time penalties so that our enforcement of the basic cleanliness rules had real teeth. We appreciate the partnership with Councilmember Ung for introducing this bill that achieves this and for the chair's support in hearing the proposal. The third is Preconsidered Introduction 358, sponsored by Councilmember Ressler, to require at least 5 organic drop-off sites in each community district. As we testified, DSNY has brought curbside composting to all of Brooklyn and Queens, and by October 2024, residents in all 5 boroughs will receive curbside service. As a popular supplement to curbside collection, we have also installed nearly 400 smart composting bins in 25 community districts, giving millions of New Yorkers easy access to a drop-off point for their organics any day of the week. We appreciate the bill's goal of making available in every community district a drop-off point, and we are open to evaluating the need for more drop-off points as we roll out future curbside service later this year and continue to assess the smart composting bin's success. The final bills are pre-considered resolutions by Councilmember Nurse, the first in support of collaboration between DSNY and the Parks Department on encouraging interested parties to engage in composted-related activities in parks, and the second in support of the current version of the Extended Producer Responsibility Act in Albany. We are happy to continue working with our partners in the parks on this end, and we are deeply supportive of the state passing the Packaging, Reduction, and Recycling Infrastructure Act in 2024, which we agree with Councilmember and the Chair is long overdue. In addition to the bills being discussed today, DSNY would also like to raise the issue of commercial organic separation. Local Law 146 of 2013 requires certain commercial establishments to separate their compostable material, but this law is now substantially out of step with the city's commitment to diversion of compostable waste. The commercial waste zone system will improve commercial diversion in that DSNY is requiring carters to charge businesses less to collect recyclables and compost than to collect trash. But we also urge the council to consider an update that would allow DSNY to have source separation at all commercial establishments, in line with the progress made in residential diversion. Again, Chair, we thank you for the opportunity to testify about this important topic. With that, we look forward to taking your questions.
Thank you so much for your testimony. I would like to recognize Councilmember Nurse and Councilmember Yeager. And also like to recognize Councilmember Julie Menon. So let's start off. My first question is, most of the organics collected through the city's curbside program is used for methane production rather than compost. I am concerned that some New Yorkers may feel misled about what is happening with their organic waste. Could you describe the agency's decision to market its curbside organics collection as a curbside composting program? And relatedly, can you describe the thought process behind labeling your smart bins with large letters that read compost in all caps?
Of course, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that the underlying basis of this program is about beneficial use. The material gets out of the landfills, off the street, and instead is put to good use, either as finished compost for use in our parks and gardens, or as a way to heat our homes and reduce the city's reliance on greenhouse gases on fracked natural gas. I think that composting is a term that New Yorkers are familiar with. If we put beneficial use on the side of the bin or anaerobic digestion on the side of the bin, it's not really describing what happens in a meaningful way, and it's not getting people to want to participate. You know, our work over the last several years has really been focused on helping these programs to reach the widest possible audience, and we think beneficial use is the core of the program.
Yeah, I mean, people who are putting their food scraps in these bins, I mean, a lot of my constituents, I don't think they're aware that it's what it's being used for. So if the messaging that it's should be broader than that, I mean, maybe that would, I think, be more informative for my constituents who, you know, when they're putting their food scraps, they think this is resulting in just composting.
And it is resulting in compost, right? Because a substantial amount of it goes to compost.
And we'll get into what percentage now. So approximately what proportion of organic waste is currently processed into compost?
So right now in the city, and again, I want to emphasize that this is a snapshot in time. It can change day to day, and it's in the process of changing longer because we have an active procurement on this topic. Right now, you're looking at about an 80-20 split. And the point is that everything goes to beneficial, that's about 80% to digestion and 20% to composting at the moment. We do have a procurement underway, a competitive sealed bid, that in accordance with the law prioritizes additional composting capacity over digestion. However, I do want to emphasize that both of these end uses are forms of beneficial use. You know, when the material simply goes to landfill, no one benefits. Both anaerobic digestion and composting have advantages. Obviously, as you know, anaerobic digestion takes significantly less space, for example. So there is a place for both in the city going forward, and both are forms of beneficial use.
How is the digestate from anaerobic digesters processed, and what proportion is beneficially reused?
So I think probably DEP could speak to that in more detail, but my understanding is that the anaerobic digesters are basically mimic the processes that take place within the human stomach. I learned that when I took the tour as a member of the public. So it produces a few different materials, and there are multiple beneficial uses. So some of it is gas, which is used to heat and power homes, primarily at the moment in Brooklyn, is my understanding. Some of it is used to produce fertilizer. Some of it is used to produce the material that caps a landfill, an infill construction material. The one thing that I think is interesting about the anaerobic digestion process is when you think about food waste, and this is why it can be challenging to look at the tonnage, and you have to look at it at different points in the process. The bulk of it is water weight. When you're talking about your food waste, something like 22%, I think it is. We should check on that, but I think it's 22% of the of it is solid, and the rest of it is water weight. And so when you talk about what is beneficially used, it's important to remember that your denominator shouldn't include the majority of it that's just water. When you get down to those finished solids, I've seen analyses that put the beneficial use number at around 95%.
Does the city believe it is feasible to process the majority of its organic waste into compost? Do you believe that you have that infrastructure in place as it is?
I think we have to point to the procurement on that one. You know, we know that we have sufficient capacity today to process the material collected at the curb. We are undergoing a competitive sealed bid to help to sort of reposition that capacity with a focus on borough equity in accordance with the law with a preference for composting. It's an ongoing process right now, but the fact is that yes, we can process what we pick up at the curb.
The majority of organics collected in the curbside and smart bin programs is sent to Newtown Creek Wastewater Resource Recovery Facility, where it is combined with sewage for anaerobic co-digestion. One of the end products is sewage sludge biosolids, which are then landfilled, incinerated, or used for agricultural purposes. You may or may not have the breakdown here, but what is the breakdown of landfilling versus incinerating versus using for agricultural purposes? And what other uses, productive or otherwise, are these solids for?
I think DEP would have that. I think that that's the question that gets back to that 95% that I've heard, but that's worth double checking on. And I will just say to the fact stated at the beginning of the question about the majority of material going there, again, there's a procurement happening right now. So that state of play may not be the case in the next few months.
Certainly, and we would definitely love that, love to have that breakdown. And to that end, you may also not have this information. How much contamination is screened out and disposed of?
I don't have tonnage information. I can speak a little bit about what we've done to limit contamination. Okay. There's a couple of things that we're really proud of in our program that have limited contamination and made it easier for New Yorkers to use, so that New Yorkers don't have to worry quite as much about, am I putting in the right stuff, whatever. We can deal with the contamination on our end in this program. One is the smart bins, which require sort of awareness of the program at point of use, the smartphone app. You would not believe, or maybe you would, but I was certainly impressed by how beautiful the material coming out of those bins is in terms of the lack of contamination. That's one piece. And then another piece is at the Staten Island compost facility. We've got equipment that screens out contaminants on our end. So this is how, for example, we were able to lessen restrictions about what kind of bag you put your compostable material in, thereby making the program much easier. We now have the capacity on our end to remove that contaminant.
What is DSNY doing to engage existing sites in the community to respond to the RFP you mentioned to process organic waste?
I just want to be careful not to prejudice the procurement, so that's just what I'm checking on. Yeah. So the procurement, like all city procurements, it's in the city record. I'm not sure how much outreach we're allowed to do around it. But we've worked very closely with these community groups. Obviously, we are tremendous supporters of community composting and so thankful for the work that community composters have done over the years, and would encourage everyone who believes they may be responsive to take a look at that.
And you support restoration as well, right?
We're so thankful for everything that community composters have done to get us to this point.
Thank you for that. All right, my next question is, so local law requires the city to plan to maximize composting as part of its upcoming 20-year solid waste management plan. We know that's up in 2 years already. What actions are the city taking now to prepare sites and personnel to conduct the composting process?
So we undertook the ambitious project to upgrade our Staten Island compost facility capacity, as I testified. The mayor and the commissioners, with the mayor and the commissioners' leadership. So that upgrade launched last fall, and the compost facility's capacity dramatically grew from having the capacity to accept 30 tons of food waste per week to 600 tons per week. Separate and complementary to our own facilities upgrade, like Deputy Commissioner Goodman mentioned, we put out a sealed, competitive bid to increase our organics processing at the capacity citywide. And, it's still ongoing, but by its end, we will have increased capacity for both composting and digestion as specified.
With respect to the Staten Island site, how much of the organics collected by DSNY is currently being sent to municipal compost sites? I do know that in your testimony, you said it's about 200 million pounds that site is capable of processing. Could you speak to that, and also what percentage of DSNY organics is being sent to the Staten Island site?
So for fiscal year '23, we received about 31,000 tons, and then out of that, 26,000 tons of that came from commercial landscapers. I don't have the breakdown of what was sent to certain sites, but that's what we accepted for last fiscal year.
Thank you. I'm going to ask two more questions. See if my colleagues have. Do my colleagues have any questions? I would like to recognize that we've been joined by Council Members Carr, Palladino, and Vernikov. Okay. And I'm also recognizing Mr. Banks, my good colleague Banks. Composting can be space intensive, and in New York City, space is highly valued. However, keeping composting activities within the city allows us to more fully enjoy its economic and social benefits. How will DSNY balance these contrasting interests in developing its composting infrastructure?
Yeah, it's really gets at exactly why we think that there is a role for both composting and anaerobic digestion in the future of processing of a compostable material. The space aspect, the borough equity aspect, the environmental justice aspect of where the trucks go, that's sort of the issue that we're undertaking right now. Not sort of, that is the issue that we're undertaking right now with the competitive sealed bid, is trying to balance these so that every part of the city gets to participate in the largest and easiest curbside composting program ever, and also so that every part of the city feels an equal share of the local processing capacity in their neighborhood.
You mentioned earlier that the breakdown of anaerobic digestion is 80 to 20 composting. What is that ideal, percentage for you? Is it 50-50? Is it the reverse? I mean, what's the goal of the administration here?
I think that this is one where we know that the outcome of the competitive sealed bid could go to court if we say that our preference is this percentage or that percentage, right? So we have to be careful about that. I just want to say that I think it's really important that we understand that both of these are forms of beneficial use. And I can share some numbers. When you talk about that 80-20 split, the city is still composting 9.2 million pounds of material a year. It's incredible. 10 million pounds of stuff that was going to end up in a landfill that ends up instead as finished compost to go to our parks and gardens that we give away for free to residents. So, obviously that number is going to increase as the citywide program comes online and as this bid, the procurement process is completed. But there's got to be a role for both forms of beneficial use.
And the breakdown that you gave me, 80-20, is that information anyone can get online, or is this only only is the agency privy to that information? It's in the solid waste management plan. Okay, because I think in real time, having that information in real time, how much of it is, is going through anaerobic digestion versus composting, how much of it is getting landfilled, how much of it is getting incinerated, how much is going back to beneficial, uses. I think all of this is information that the public deserves to know, in the same vein that people should know that their scraps aren't actually going to composting, it's actually going to anaerobic digestion. I think transparency is very important. It's something that I'm stressing here. But I'm happy to move on to my other question. The mayor has stated that he hopes to open the doors to the green economy for working New Yorkers. Can you name the green jobs that the city will likely be hiring in order to process organic waste? And please specify which of these are entry level.
So broadly, this is a question better directed to our colleagues at City Hall who are overseeing the city's larger efforts to expand green jobs. But, our composting program is part of the green economy and the city's commitment to a sustainable New York. We're running the largest and easiest composting program ever. Hit the largest ever organics diversion number in FY23, which was even before the Brooklyn program came online. And, the sustainability program obviously fits very broadly into a commitment to green jobs and a green economy.
So I take concern with the fact that we can't name the green jobs, and also by the same time they're also eliminating green jobs on community composting. I think there's a workforce issue here that the admin needs to grapple with and work on. I want to turn it over to community composting, and then I'll have my colleagues ask questions. Community drop-off sites and composting facilities have been faced with serious financial hardship in the wake of the mayor's most recent budget cuts. They have had to end long-term programs and lay off much of their staff, and the residents who depend on these programs have been robbed of an important community resource. Just 3 years ago, when DSNY ended curbside collection of organic waste, these drop-off sites were the only thing available to New Yorkers wanting to recycle organic waste, and they broke participation records. Why is the city deciding now to defund these programs that have made such a positive impact?
I just want to say a few things about this. You know that the city is rolling out the largest and easiest curbside composting program ever, bringing service to every single residence in the city in a relatively quick timeline after many years of talk and stops and starts. I think it's important to state for the record that we would not be in this position today to roll out this program if it weren't for the work of the community composters. The community composting organizations spent decades advocating for beneficial reuse of compostable material, for getting it out of landfill, providing, to your point, providing opportunities to do so when they were the only thing available, when there was very little else available broadly at the height of the pandemic. We are so thankful for their work, their advocacy, appreciative of everything they've done. Mayor's been very clear. This is an incredibly challenging fiscal climate that the city is facing today. And significant and difficult cuts have been made across city agencies and at the sanitation department as well. We were very happy to hear that private philanthropy has stepped in to fund the community composting groups.
And that shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't be the way. This council will make it a big priority. You're going to hear us on March 14th for the budget hearings. Community composting is here to stay. We're not only grateful for the work that they've done, but also for the work that they'll continue to do. I think that's very important, especially as we consider the rollout of curbside composting citywide, as more smart bins show up. The participation rates are always higher with community composting. People who understand their local communities, understand how to promote that civic engagement, because it is a civic really opportunity that we can't rob people from. And so I'm going to make this a priority for this committee and for this council. Community composting is here to stay. So I'm going to turn it over.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. No applause, please, if you're going to just go like this. Thank you so much.
I'm not going to lie. I like the applause, but I can't say that. Sorry. So I'm going to turn it over to some of my colleagues for questions. I'm first going to turn it over to Councilmember Nurse, who can also provide her remarks for her bill.
Thank you, Chair Abreu, and congratulations on your first Sanitation Committee hearing.
Thank you.
Love that you're allowing the first claps. Okay, I just had a couple of bills. I'll just say a few remarks about it, but then I have just a few questions. One, I just wanted to say I was really encouraged to see the DSNY release the NYC Zero Waste Report earlier this year from our package of bills last year, and I'm excited to dive into it. But the bills I have here are, I have intro number 55 in relation to accepting commercial solid waste at city-owned or operated marine transfer and rail transfer stations. As you all know, we've spoken about this topic for over 2 years, and even prior to my time, it's a long-standing priority from many environmental justice advocates. Next, I have a pre-considered reso encouraging DSNY and parks to continue to collaborate with local communities on community composting. I think this is incredibly urgent now, and I'd love to hear more about concrete ways in which that can happen given the cuts and layoffs to composters. And then lastly, I think, we passed this before, but the reso on EPR, we're super excited about that. I think it's so urgent, and we'll do a lot to bring much needed resources to the department to help build on some of the programs that you have. So I did read through the testimony that you all provided. The commercial waste at marine transfer stations, we've had this conversation for a long time. You all have been studying it and analyzing it and assessing it internally, but what we've never heard at any of these hearings is any direct analysis of the cost breakdown. We understand that it will require a 24-hour operation. I understand that it will require more workers, but there are also additional benefits. I mean, waste is expensive. The way that we are handling our waste is extremely expensive, and there are other benefits such as keeping truck vehicle mileage down and allowing carters to empty their payload with more efficiency. So I'd love to have some more concrete details beyond just a statement that it's cost prohibitive, so we can actually understand the benefits of this bill.
Yeah, and we appreciate that, Council Member. It is one of those things that, we do always look at. We do want to study this more and want to get you some concrete numbers. For now, we just know that it is, cost prohibitive, but, it will be one of those things that we look at closely.
How do you know it's cost prohibitive?
Well, looking at some of the what we would have to pay right now for our vendors at 91st Street and Southwest, just taking an additional shift and what we charge per ton, just like a high level estimate.
Okay. Have you spoken with any carters about their interest in utilizing these two facilities that have excess capacity?
I believe so.
Member, so we have asked for that information from Carter's, and we are compiling that and can come back with it. But that was, as you remember, part of what we were asking for from Carter's that would ultimately be a part of commercial waste zones. So we're now in a place to take a look at that.
Okay.
So we can come back to you with it.
Okay. Yeah, my initial conversations have been pretty positive. I think a lot of folks would be excited to tip at a city facility and not have to wait in line, especially when you have carters that own tipping facilities or transfer facilities. They got to get in the back of the line for those company trucks to come there. I think having a somewhat neutral first come, first serve would be actually incredibly beneficial to those folks as the CWZ rolls out. I just have two final questions, Chair, and I'll try not to go too long. But I know in 2006 there was a compost facility siting task force that was created. Did that ever meet, or is it just one of these working group task force that goes nowhere?
That was before my time at the department, but I'm not sure that it ever did meet.
Okay. Okay, if in the follow-up we could request any information about anything that workforce or task force did, I think that would be really helpful to understanding some of the questions that the chair was getting at earlier. And then lastly, I was really excited to see the Sweep NYC page roll out. It already was like yielding results. I was at breakfast with a friend the other day, and we pulled up her address, and on the 25th, of February, when she entered in her address, it showed that a broom had not been to her address since January 29th, which was an incredible amount of time given she'd had to move her car nearly 8 times between that. And so just curious why that would happen. I know we had a couple snow days, so I understand that calculation, but how can it be almost 20 days and a mechanical broom doesn't even pass by?
So one of the things that we are looking to refine with that app, so there's an internal app that feeds that app. One of the things that's great about the app, and thank you for that, is looking at routes where we historically had issues in. A lot of times, if we traverse a segment outside of the segment time, we shouldn't get credit for it. And in the past, we might have gotten credit for it internally. Those are one of the things that we have looked at, and we look at closely every week. So every week, we bring our borough commanders down along with the district superintendents, and we pull up their stats and percentages, and obviously everything should be 100%, right? Everybody should get services. If you have to move your cars, we should come down and sweep, right? And there are times we're noticing challenges, and we're adjusting routes as necessary, and in some cases, we have to add additional resources, whether it's, having another piece of equipment go into the route, but it is one of those things, and I would be glad to take that information and look at that
I'll give you
closely.
the screenshot of it. But can you just break down what you mean by the credit? Like I didn't understand
Sure.
that part.
So each segment every block has a unique segment ID, right?
Okay.
Each of our sweepers have GPS devices. When the sweeper goes down the block, a GPS ping goes to the satellite, and then internally we get it in our application, right? Previously, you could have gone down a segment at any time of day, and we would have said, okay, you went down and got credit for it, but that was incorrect. That was not the way it should be. It should be only within the posted regulated time. So now that, we've refined our application, if let's say you have a 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. sweep, if our sweeper doesn't go down that block at that time, we don't want to take credit for it. We want to make sure you're getting down within that segmented time. So that's what I meant by.
Okay, so the broom might have gone down the
Correct.
street, just not in that window.
Yeah, and one of the things to note, council member, is that there are times where operationally our equipment, like the sweepers, if the block is open, the sweeper will go down the block if it's before the posted time, because it helps them get through the routes quicker.
Right.
So those might be instances, I'm not saying that's the case there, but those might be instances where we find where you're not going down the posted regulation time, but you're not getting credit for it in this application. So, but there might be different reasons for it, and I would love to look at that and know exactly.
So will there be tweaks to it? I'm done. Will there be tweaks to it?
Yeah,
So that, 'cause I think
absolutely.
it would be, even if it's not within the time, I think for someone to be like, what the hell? I haven't had my street swept for 20 days. Even for them to know, okay, it was outside. I still
Right.
had to move my car and I'm pissed.
Right.
But at least this happened, I think would be helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and there are tweaks that we're looking to do. I think the main issue we want to fix is if there's any routing issues.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure all the routes are completed on schedule, so that's one thing we're going to look at first.
Thank you. Thank you,
Can
Chair.
I also just add really fast on that topic that the time period you're describing included 3 snowstorms that led to ASP?
Yes, I acknowledge the
suspensions?
snow days in my line
But
of
also
questioning.
Lunar New Year's Eve, Lunar New Year's Day, Lincoln's birthday, Ash Wednesday, and President's
Yeah.
Day. So depending on what the frequency is for that block,
Yeah.
it is possible that they had no ASP throughout that entire
Yeah.
3-week period.
That's a long time.
Yeah, we
okay.
don't like to cancel ASP if we don't.
I hear you. Thank you.
I would like to acknowledge Councilmembers Salamanca, Ressler, and Gennaro. I will now turn it over to Lincoln Ressler to share his remarks.
Thanks so much, Chair Abreu. Congratulations on this distinguished appointment, and really deeply appreciative of your outspoken advocacy on behalf of community composting. And I think it's so important that you're centering this topic and issue at your first hearing. And I want to thank the Department of Sanitation for their hard work. I think you all have been one of the most effective agencies in this administration. And even though we are often complaining to you about a very large range of issues, we appreciate your responsiveness and partnership and efficacy in general. We have a bill today. Unfortunately, something got lost in the process. So I think the most updated version of the bill was not correctly reintroduced. But the bill that we are reintroducing requires 25 compost bins in each community district. These public composting bins are essential for New Yorkers to be able to compost on a daily basis when they're finishing their half-eaten sandwich, or when they're done with their half-eaten sandwich or their banana peel. They should be able to compost it and compost it readily. And that's why our legislation would require approximately 1,500 public composting bins across the city of New York, prioritizing high pedestrian trafficked areas such as parks, commercial corridors, transit hubs, places that New Yorkers are walking and passing by every day. I think that you all have done a good job innovating with these public composting bins. They are part of the solution to composting, to really increasing our composting rates citywide and achieving a zero waste future. In addition to the community compost drop-off sites, in addition to making curbside composting universal, this is another way that we should help New Yorkers incorporate composting into their daily lives and ensure that everything that is compostable is getting composted. We are eager to see this bill passed into law. I really want to thank again Chair Abreu for his leadership and the opportunity for hearing on this bill, and would welcome if the Department of Sanitation has any policy on the updated version of our bill that will ultimately be reintroduced.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Gennaro, if you have any questions, now would be the time. All right, thank you, Councilmember. Has no questions. I'm now going to turn it over to Councilmember Menon for questions.
Thank you so much, Chair, and I want to congratulate you on your first hearing on this committee. A couple of different questions I have. In my district, I'm receiving a lot of complaints about composting bins being broken or not usable. Or specifically being unable to open them. Can you talk about that? How many reports are you getting of that? And what is the agency's process to fix them?
Good morning, Councilmember. I'm surprised to hear that. We have a dedicated team that handles complaints related to the smart composting bins. You can make a report directly in the app. We do get concerns about it now and then, as you would with any sort of customer-facing program. I wouldn't say that it's a overwhelming volume, and they're typically corrected very quickly. So if people are reaching out to your office with these, I would encourage them, please do make a report in the app. We'd love to get somebody up there to take a look at it right away. And I'm not sure if you're talking about when the bins are full, which would be separate from when they're not functional. But if people's concern is that they're not full, or that they're full and won't open because they're full of material, they are emptied 6 times per week, and we're thrilled to see how popular they are, that people are using them. Definitely going to continue to evaluate as curbside service comes to your district in the fall.
Okay, now this is specifically that they weren't working, that they were having trouble opening them, or there was some other issue with them. So this is good to know. So we will make sure to refer all constituents to actually go onto the app.
It's right in the app, and we would love to service those.
Got it. I did have a question how the city's collected tonnage rates compare to other cities. Could you give us a picture of that, of how we're doing as a city compared to other major cities?
I know that I can talk a little bit about the program design and about what we're seeing sort of against ourselves. I'm not sure what we have compared to other cities at the moment, because a lot of times, as I understand it, the reporting structures are set by state law, and they may not match apples to apples. For example, I know in California, they have to report their construction debris as part of their diversion rates, so their diversion rates don't compare to ours because they're done differently. But we did, in developing the largest and easiest curbside composting program ever, look at models that had been successful in other North American cities, in particular Toronto, Portland, Seattle, and San Francisco. And we tried to model what had worked in those cities. So things like working off of a leaf and yard waste first model, and then making food waste kind of an added bonus of the program, was how they were able to build long-term, economically viable and widely used programs. And then in terms of a comparison against ourselves, we just saw in the FY23 MMR a record amount of compostable material diverted. It was 211 million pounds compared to something like 150 million in the FY22 MMR, and that was even before the Brooklyn curbside program came online, and it included the time period where the Queens program was on pause. So the FY24 MMR is going to, again, shatter a record on the amount of material we're diverting. But as far as direct comparisons to other cities, certainly something we can look at.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Councilmember Carr? So I will continue with questions. Local law requires certain New York City food service establishments and retail food stores to separate their organic waste. And as we all know, businesses are not serviced by DSNY. Businesses are not serviced by DSNY, but rather by private waste hauling companies, which will now be required to price their organics collection services lower than trash collection. How will DSNY, along with BIC, ensure that private waste hauling companies are not commingling source-separated organic waste with other refuse, if doing so would hypothetically result in higher profit and lower operating costs for the waste hauler?
So, the Commercial Waste Zones program will come into effect this fall, and when it does, we will have the authority to write violations to private carters for commingling of organics with non-organics. And we're looking to aggressively enforce this against carters who do not comply with these regulations. So that is one of the things that we are staffed for that. So we will be looking for that.
What will it take to conduct enforcement against businesses and carters which refuse to comply with source separation requirements?
Are you referring to specifics of like what the components of the like our enforcement officers will have to do, or exactly what?
I guess what will, from an agency perspective and resources, what will it take for DSNY to enforce businesses and carters that are refusing to comply with source separation requirements? And also, how do you see the council being helpful here in terms of, I don't know if there's any additional legislation that we should be pursuing that would enhance source separation for commercial businesses?
Yeah, so one of the things that as I mentioned, we do have sanitation police officers staffed once the commercial waste program begins. I guess depending on the violations we find when it rolls out, we will adjust accordingly. But for now, we feel like we have enough sufficient sanitation police officers to enforce this.
And then on your question about a role for the council in this, which I we appreciate the question very much. Commercial organics is currently governed under Local Law 146 of 2013. This law was written in a very different time, and we would love to look at it together with the council and work on possible updates. For example, the fact that it only covers back-of-house material. There's a lot of room to see how to bring the commercial program more in line with the residential program.
So you think there's a lot more we can do to divert organic waste?
There is certainly a lot to look at. I mean, the law is now 11 years old. It was the process. It was the result of complex negotiations more than a decade ago. We would love to take a look at what an update to that law might be.
I would like to recognize Councilmember Hanif. And Councilmember Hanif, if you have questions, now's your time.
Thank you so much, Chair Abreu, and thank you all for being here this morning. So I've heard from constituents that they've seen DSNY trash trucks mistakenly taking compost from brown bins and mixing it in with standard waste. What steps is the department taking to ensure operation collections are running smoothly and constituents aren't separating their organics for naught?
So it could be different issues here. One of the things that you may be finding is once we do a full rollout in October, there'll be 20 districts that are going to be using what we call our hybrid collection approach, meaning we collect the refuse and the organics in one truck, which is, you might have seen it around. It has two sides, and one side the refuse goes, and the other side organics goes.
But is it true that what I'm hearing from my constituents is correct?
Well, I was going to say, there may be instances, so we don't want to have our sanitation workers, be the judge of, somebody's waste. A lot of times residents will, contaminate it, and if it's heavily contaminated, with refuse, we're not going to tell them to put it on the organic side. We'll put it on the refuse side. So it could be that instances that they might find there would be contamination in there, and that's why that you'll see them put them in the refuse side.
I see.
Member, if I could add to the first
Sure.
deputy commissioner, when we do get instances like this, candidly, I'm not personally familiar yet with a constituent complaint like that, but we do investigate it. So if we could connect afterwards and understand the routes that you were seeing, we will take a look.
I really appreciate that. And I want to be clear that the intent of my bill was to establish a citywide composting program, not a citywide anaerobic digestion program. I'm concerned that such a large percentage of collected organic waste is not actually being composted. Can you share the department's plans to expand compost processing capacity over the coming years?
In accordance with the law, the department has a competitive sealed bid procurement process happening right now that prioritizes additional compost capacity. We believe that both composting and anaerobic digestion are forms of beneficial use. Prior to the passage of your law, prior to the passage of the rollout of this program, this is millions of pounds of material that was going to landfill. Instead of going to a landfill, instead of feeding the rats, instead of going to waste, it is being put to use either as millions of pounds of finished compost or as power to heat our homes. Both of those are a net positive for the city. However, we are currently expanding our capacity and reevaluating our capacity with a preference for compost, even though we believe that both of these are a necessary part of the steady state of a citywide program.
Love that. I was disturbed to hear that in the summer, the digester eggs at Newtown Creek, which the city is heavily relying on for organics processing, were malfunctioning, resulting in products being burned off as carbon dioxide. Can you provide a detailed timeline of what has occurred at Newtown Creek and the current status of the operation?
DSNY cannot. DEP runs that facility, or rather, I believe it's their vendor, National Grid, that runs it on behalf of DEP. But that would be a question for the Department of Environmental Protection. And again, with an ongoing procurement, the amount of material going to that site may change.
Okay, that's great to know. I'll follow up with them. And then do you have preliminary data on program participation in Queens and Brooklyn, which rolled out in full in October of last year, including how many tons of compost have been collected and how it compares to previous years? And then I have a few more questions about the doors knocked, doors contracted that CBOs knocked, mailers sent out, brown bins distributed, and decals distributed.
Yes, so when it was about 100,000 bins distributed in the first two boroughs, and there were mailers sent to every residence. So that's about 1.7 million, I think, households that received mailers. The door knocks were a combination of CBOs and DSNY outreach staff. A lot of that was done in-house. But we did knock the door of every building with 1 to 9 units in the entirety of Brooklyn and Queens. I should remember the number. It's something like 600,000, 500,000. It's a lot of doors.
And that was, you said joint with the CBOs?
Yes, CBOs did some, and DSNY did the bulk of it. But yes, we worked in concert on that. And then as far as participation goes, we do report monthly tonnage numbers citywide, are posted on our website. And those numbers are going to, I think, become, right now you're looking at a patchwork of programs when you look at that number. And so it's a little bit hard to parse. But we did see a record amount of diverted material in the FY23 MMR, and we expect the FY24 MMR to beat that record.
Amazing. Amazing. This is great news. I'm really happy to hear this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Carr.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Department, for being here today. Appreciate your time. It goes without saying that a Staten Island council member has to be anti-landfill. And that means being against landfills everywhere. And so I'm supportive of the composting program, curbside pickup program as it's being rolled out, and I look forward to the rollout later this year for Staten Island. Very happy to be there with the commissioner and the mayor at that announcement. And so my question is about the Staten Island composting site in particular. So we're in the vicinity of the neighborhood of Travis, and residents continue to complain to me about the odor that sometimes reaches them from the composting facility. And I imagine that this is going to increase with frequency, perhaps, as more composting is done. And so I'd like to know what is happening at the site in order to prevent that kind of a nuisance from afflicting nearby neighborhoods, and perhaps what more could be done to address that.
One thing I know of offhand, and I think we'd like to get back to you with more details, I know that there's water spraying done on the piles on particularly windy days, days when they think that the odors may carry, but can get a little more information about what is done and what may be possible to do.
Okay, I appreciate it. That's really my only question, Chair. Thank you. I look forward to hearing back from the department.
Since October last year, what was the organics tonnage per borough? Do you have that information?
So in calendar year 23, in Brooklyn, we collected 11,770,000 tons, and in pounds. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say we're on our way.
Yeah, I'm used to tons, but and in the borough of Queens, we collected 25 million tons.
Thank you.
Pounds. I'm sorry.
I get.
I'm being hopeful here.
It's good to be hopeful. So I get a lot of emails and complaints from my constituents in the Upper West Side, especially, about their smart bins being full all the time. And I can tell you what they do. They go to community composters, right? They go to their farmers markets as an alternative. But for me, that speaks to potentially a larger problem. I don't know if there is. Is there a lack of servicing of these smart bins? We have a lot on the Upper West Side, a lot of these smart bins, which we're grateful for that infrastructure, but they're full every time. I mean, what do I say to my constituents?
So I would say a few things about that. First is, this is the best problem to have, right? People are using a program that diverts material from landfill. That's really a testament to how much interest there is to the success of the program. Is so gratifying to all of us, and thank you for your advocacy in getting your constituents to use these. They are emptied every day except Sunday, and we are going to look at what that usage looks like, not just after Manhattan receives curbside service, because we do anticipate that many people who currently use the smart composting bins will instead do curbside separation in their building, but also after, under the law, DSNY can begin writing tickets for failure to source separate organic material on the residential side in April of 25. So after that is when you'll probably see a lot of the larger buildings, really, even though it is mandatory as soon as service begins under the law as written does not give us the ability to enforce until the spring. And so when that happens, we're gonna really take a look at the smart bins and see what usage of them looks like that.
Can I also add one thing? So one of the things that we looked at when we rolled out these smart bins was how to service them, right? So we had to keep it cost neutral. And we're servicing those bins are being serviced by our school truck routes, which are they're dispatched on our 7 p.m. shift every night. We have made adjustments operationally, so our collection operations office looks at the app closely, and we've made some adjustments over the few months where we're seeing some Saturday night services necessary. And maybe some Monday morning services necessary. But we are making adjustments as it goes along. And like Deputy Commissioner Goodman said, once Manhattan rolls out, we'll adjust, a little bit closer there, because then by then everybody should have, the service weekly. So that's one of the things I wanted to add.
Thank you. On the enforcement side for commercial businesses, do you have a number on how many citations have been issued in the last 6 months to commercial businesses for improper composting, setting out trash at the wrong time, or setting out trash improperly, for example, not in an approved container?
We do have that information. We look at it pretty regularly. I'm sorry to say we don't have it in front of us.
That's all right. We could just follow up with that information.
Yeah, we do have that.
Would be greatly appreciated. I want to turn over to Grow NYC for a bit. If you could speak to, the Grow NYC Zero Waste Schools program, we consider it to be very vital at this council. So it's unfortunate to see the cuts that are coming there. What education is given to schools given the funding cut to this vital program.
So there's a few things I'll point to here. When I say, again, as mentioned earlier, we are so appreciative of the work that CBOs and community composters have done over the years on not just on collection and processing, but on education and outreach as well, of course. In about a month, we will make good on a commitment of this administration that every DOE school receive composting service in the school. We've been rolling that out in phases over the past several years, and we're very close to completing that, which means that composting in schools involves education for the custodial staff and for the students, because the students are the ones doing the separation. So DSNY is engaged in active in-school education and outreach to get the next generation of composters. They compost at school, they go home and they talk to their parents about it. It's incredibly important to us. We have a significant number of other educational programs that include sustainability in the schools. We work closely with DOE on.
We believe very strongly that Grow NYC must be part of that equation. My other question is, what happened to the $2.1 million in funding that was allocated to the build-out of the Rockaway Avenue compost site for the LES Ecology Center? This funding was allocated through the East Side Coastal Resilience Project, not solely through the DSNY budget. The build-out of the Rockaway Ave compost site was a promise made to the Ecology Center through the relocation of their programs as a result of the ESCR construction.
Unfortunately, that 2.1 was part of the PEG and the November plan, and so although we had done design to start to build the facility, we had never actually started construction on the Rockaway site.
Thanks for your transparency, and it'll be something that I'm sure will come up in the hearings that we're going to have in the next few weeks. Expanding our infrastructure is very important. We need, especially in Manhattan. All right. I mean, we're seeing good signs somewhere, but in other places, we need to make sure that's equitably done. And I think that the LES Ecology Center is going to be very important to that as well. My potentially last question, unless anyone has any other questions, is really just outreach. Considering that many New Yorkers are not yet in the habit of separating their organic waste from the rest of their waste and may not have the tools to do so, and that DSNY's outreach and education budget has been cut significantly, how does the agency plan to help New Yorkers adapt their behaviors by October of this year, when source separation becomes mandatory? I mean, we're only a few months away.
Yeah, thank you for that question. We agree that would be really not be beneficial to launch a program that nobody knows about. And as the largest and easiest curbside composting program ever, one of the great things about it is that it does some of its own outreach. Right? The program is so much easier to use that basically the message is so much simpler than it's been in the past. Set it out every week on your recycling day. Use whatever bin you want. Anything from your kitchen, anything from your garden. No sign up, no opt-in, no complicated rules, no restrictions, no special day, no limited hours, right? It's so much easier to use, and that helps with the messaging and outreach. In Brooklyn and Queens, we knocked every door of the 1 to 9 unit buildings, and we sent mailers. And we found that those two interventions, when we track participation over time, when we look at people engaging with our content, we can see that those are the two things that really made a difference. We certainly intend to do both of those things in the 3 remaining boroughs.
The city currently proposes a once per week collection of organic waste from residences. What should New Yorkers do with organic waste on the days that DSNY is not providing the service?
So there's a few options here. This is one of the benefits of the smart composting bins. And sometimes people say, oh, but aren't you going to not have a need for them after their citywide residential curbside service? That question exactly shows the ongoing need for the smart composting bins, and one of the reasons I think that they're so popular. In between my trips to my smart bin, because I don't have residential service yet, I keep my compostable material in the freezer. Everybody has a different approach that works for them, but we've tried to develop wraparound services deliberately give people multiple options about how to dispose of that material properly.
What advice do you have for New Yorkers who wish to comply with local law and source separate their organic waste, but have a landlord or property manager who refuses to engage with brown bins or organic waste in general?
In spring of 2025, when DSNY gains the legal authority to write tickets for failure to source separate, we expect to see that problem substantially disappear. We've heard those kinds of concerns, but I really want to do it, and I live in a high rise, and my building management tells me to get lost. When they get a sanitation citation, we think they'll be less likely to say get lost. And in the meantime, we are writing warnings. When we see complaints, come in on social media, someone says, I really want to do it, and if we can get an address, we have gone out and written warning notices, since of course under the law it is mandatory. But in April of 2025, there will be a fine associated with failure to source separate.
And my last question is, are metrics on brown bin participation and or contamination rates being collected? If so, where can the general public access this information? I think you already answered the part on contamination rates earlier.
Yeah, and then, yes, and then also the monthly tonnage is posted online. Right now, that would include sort of multiple kinds of programs, but this October, when we're at full rollout, looking at that monthly tonnage will be a meaningful metric about the success of the curbside composting program. I think that's right.
Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate all of your contributions and insights. Really, again, appreciate your time today. We'll now move over to public testimony.
Thank you, and we will turn now to public testimony. Each panelist will be given 2 minutes to speak. The hearing will be adjourned for 5 minutes. After that, we will turn to public testimony, and our first panelists will be Rhonda Kaiser, Claire Mifflin, and Gail Lopez. We'll resume at 11:24.
Good morning, everyone. We will be beginning shortly. If everyone can just please have a seat. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you all for your time and patience being here this morning. We will begin now with public testimony. Each panelist will be given 2 minutes to speak. For panelists speaking in person, please come to the dais as your name is called and wait for your turn to speak. For panelists who are testifying remotely, once your name is called, I will unmute you and the Sergeant at Arms will give you the go-ahead to begin. Please wait for the sergeant to announce that you may begin before delivering your testimony. During your testimony, you must remain on topic and maintain decorum. Witnesses are not permitted to record themselves or the committee during their testimony. A recording of this hearing will be provided online. Our first panel, we will begin with a small panel from Zoom. First will be Rhonda Kaiser, Claire Mifflin, and Gail Lopez. Then we will turn to in-person testimony. The first panel will be Arif Sunmam, Marissa de Dominicis, and Christine Datz Romero. One moment. Okay, Rhonda, you will be first. Please wait for the Sergeant at Arms to announce that you may begin.
Starting time.
You may begin.
Sorry, hold on. Hi, I'm Rhonda Kaiser. I'm chair of the Brooklyn Solid Waste Advisory Board, or SWAB. Thank you, Chair Abreu, and to the council for your thoughtful questions today, and to the DSNY for your presence. The Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and Bronx SWABs have previously recommended that the city prioritize composting over the practice of co-digestion to process the 80% of the city's residential and commercial organic streams. Our testimony today extends our previous recommendation to the infrastructure required to support composting and is on behalf of the Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Bronx SWABs with pending approval from the Queens SWAB. We believe the infrastructure needed to support composting will be at least as cost-effective as anaerobic co-digestion, the city's majority processing method. If planning and infrastructure for composting are done right, composting can be competitive with the predominant process we employ now, which is disposal of organics as refuse to landfill and incineration. If the environmental and social harms avoided by composting organics rather than disposal as refuse, and the social benefits of composting and compost are factored into the cost-benefit analysis as they should be, the competitive advantage goes to composting easily. The infrastructure discussion has often been clouded by concerns about processing capacity constraints that are cited as an obstacle to a successful organics program in New York City. These constraints, we know, are no longer an issue. The current composting capacity of the city's organics processing at Fresh Kills facility on Staten Island has been expanded, as we've talked about today, to 104,000 tons per year. And the Newtown Creek Wastewater Resource Recovery Facility organics processing capacity through anaerobic co-digestion is estimated between 65,000 and 130,000 tons per year. Today, therefore, these two facilities can process between 169,000 to 234,000 tons of organics per year, or 15 to 21% of our total residential organics per year. To put this current organics processing capacity into perspective, by 2025, after the full rollout of curbside organics collection to all boroughs, we estimate at best—
Thank you so much. Your time has expired.
You can finish.
Okay, thank you. We estimate at best that the participation will be about 10% of the 1.1 million tons of total organics will be diverted from refuse. So these simple back of the envelope numbers indicate that we likely have some time before we start to encounter processing constraints, even as we roll out the mandatory curbside collection to the 3 remaining boroughs of Staten Island, Manhattan, and the Bronx. Now, as a reminder, recycling's progress is instructive. Recycling of metal, glass, and plastic and paper was mandatory as of 1989, and today in 2024, after 30 years of education, outreach, and enforcement, and one notable stop and start, New York City's capture rate for all recycling streams combined, excluding organics, has stagnated at 50%. It is unlikely that we will experience the participation necessary to achieve a 50% capture rate anytime soon with organics without meaningful education and outreach.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The New York City Compost Project is such outreach, and we recommend not defunding it as you're planning. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Claire Mifflin.
Starting time.
Hi, thank you. My name's Claire Mifflin. I'm Executive Director of the Center for Zero Waste Design. You know, New York City has had a vision through like 3 mayors of a greener, thriving city that that has more street trees, has more rain gardens, acts as a sponge. I mean, this is more equitable. This has been a vision for decades, and community composting is necessary to achieve this vision. So I would say that cutting community composting is cutting the future vision of New York City. Like, as the city changes from relying on gray infrastructure, concrete pipes, things like that, to relying on street trees, rain gardens, and parks to infiltrate stormwater, they've spent billions of dollars on this. Doesn't it make sense to spend $7 million a year on community composting? Because that is what you need. You can't maintain green infrastructure in the same way as you could maintain pipes and concrete. It's a very different thing to maintain. So community composting is really good quality. There's no little bits of plastic in it. It's done locally. It engages volunteers and can create good green jobs if it's consistently funded. So I'm really happy that Councilmember Nurse is talking about these working with parks, because community composting spread around, done with parks, could really change the city. And I think just in terms of how the city approaches it, you can approach changing behavior with rules and fines, but you don't convince a lot of people. If you really want to change behavior, you have to inspire and engage people, and community composting does that. It gives people hope. It gives people a way to tangibly participate in making the city greener and more equitable and better. And it gives people far more conviction than a fine would to do the right thing. So I think that needs to be factored in as the city changes the way it moves forward. And I'm very happy that there's going to be curbside organic citywide, and that they're making moves towards containerization. But both of those things, just containerizing trash, that will make our recycling rates worse. With small tweaks, the programs could be way better. And
thank you so much.
For curbside. Thank you so much.
You got it.
Thank you. Next will be Joe Lopez.
Starting time.
Mike. Hi, my name is Gil Lopez. I'm going to skip over most of my qualifications. I will say that I'm on the Queen Swab on the Organics Committee. I do work for Big Reuse, but not for the New York City Compost Project, which has completely been defunded. There's no jobs that have been saved by the city budget. It was all private money. But I am funded, my work is funded by several council members. Thank you to many of you who are here today. And I have a few things that I want to say, so I'm going to dive into it. I first want to say that I believe that brown bins and the smart bins are absolutely imperative for New York City and the municipal program. We have so much organics that we need to deal with that it is actually very necessary that these programs exist. Anaerobic digestion has been used improperly today. What the city does is anaerobic co-digestion, when the city mixes our clean food scraps, which residents work so hard to separate from the other waste streams, and the city then mixes them with sewage. That's a completely different thing. Well, it's not completely different, but it's very different from anaerobic digestion. The waste byproduct of digestion can be used to fertilize fields of edible crops. You cannot do that with anaerobically co-digested material. So I want people to be very clear about their language when they talk about this. And I want to be clear that the mayor's Plan NYC prefaces the use of organic material collected by DSNY to go to anaerobic digestion. So earlier when the DSNY person was talking about, oh, well, those 80% to be composted or to anaerobic digestion and 20% to compost is going to flip. not if the mayor and his sustainability office have anything to do with it, which is ironic because in 2019, City Council passed a climate emergency act, which said that we were going to do everything we can to reverse the impacts of climate change in the city. Now, when we burn our biogas created by anaerobic co-digestion, it does create okay. So I just want to say that community composting is very important. Having the ability for people to volunteer in their community to see composting happening brings us closer to understanding and being a part of our waste systems, which makes us more human. The process of touching compost, turning into good soil, applying it to gardens with children, with aging adults. I do this all the time. This is very important work. And the idea that the city can implement the brown bin, which I acknowledge is absolutely imperative, and completely throw the community that's been doing this work for decades, no bones at all, is ludicrous and completely disrespectful.
Thank you so much. I hear you. I hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move to our first in-person panel, starting with Arif Sunmam, Marissa De Dominicis, and Christine Datz Romero. You may approach the table.
Good morning, Chair Abreu and members of the committee. Thanks again for taking time to hold this hearing today, and for all the thoughtful questions and taking time to dive deeper into these issues. Grow NYC is here today to support the restoration of funding and reinvestment in community composting. The mayor's budget cuts have eliminated funding for Grow NYC and 7 organizations that make up the New York City Compost Project. While Grow NYC has received stopgap funding to support the program, this funding will not carry us through the next fiscal year. The loss of funding will result in the loss of funding will result in the loss of some 65 jobs, 50 of which are union. Grow NYC currently operates 50 food scrap drop-off sites across New York City, collecting 22 tons of food scraps on a weekly basis from 7,000 weekly participants. Since Grow NYC began its program in 2011, we've diverted 24 million pounds of food scraps from almost 3 million individuals' drop-offs. While the tonnage diverted may seem small in comparison to the tonnage collected by DSNY, we have invaluable educational components to our programs and engage communities through free compost give back events, street care events through the 5 boroughs. This education component cannot be replicated by the smart bins. Our programs have been characterized by the administration as small, inefficient, and only for the true believers. We are small by design. As far as efficiency, Grow NYC's collection program has consistently averaged between 6 to 7 pounds of food scraps per donor. That represents 86 to 100% of what a typical New York City household generates, according to the 2005 waste characterization study. That is a very high capture rate, one that might be considered efficient. As far as the true believers, yes, the reason the participants in our programs are true believers is that they have benefited from the education provided by our staff to understand that composting process and why it's an important tool in mitigating climate change. It seems to us that as the city strives to expand the curbside composting program, the city would want true believers to maximize the program. We would implore the City Council to preserve these vital jobs that educate the public to participate in the city's curbside program actively and enthusiastically when it becomes available to all New York City residents by restoring funding to Grow NYC and the New York City Compost Project. Finally, we're concerned with Intro 358 that it does not specify what a public organic waste receptacle is. If they're intended to be smart bins, we think a wiser investment would be greater community impact. With a greater community impact would be restoration of funding for community composting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Marissa, you may begin. Thank you. Please turn on your microphone.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Marissa De Dominicis, and I'm a co-founder and ED of Earth Matter, a compost facility located on Governor's Island. We request the council passes Intro 55, Intro 97A, reconsidered intro by Councilmember Resner, and pre-considered resolution by Councilmembers Nurse and Christian. In addition, please support the pre-considered bill, formerly Intro 1100-2023 by Gail Brewer, which which will provide for large parks to compost. We request as well the council pass a budget that includes $7 million in the FY25 budget to restore the community composting. Why? Since 1994, DSNY has invested in community composting groups that contributed to putting composting in New Yorkers' vocabulary. We're thrilled there's mandatory municipal composting. We commend the city and the council and the mayor for passing this milestone, and we thank DSNY for all their work. But the success and continuance of the city's investment in composting needs to include and expand our work. We need support of what has been established and also the work of the community composters. There's a continued need for education and processing compost in order for our food scrap diversion rates to increase from its current levels, which we believe are very low. The small amount of the FY25 budget needed to support community composting work assists the city's efforts exponentially. City council members, thanks for advocating for the increase in the compost infrastructure and the related increase in green jobs, helping to make our soils healthier, our grass greener, and leading to the reduction of the amount of food scraps currently exported to be incinerated or landfilled, which we all know despoils our collective soil, air, and water. Thank you for this opportunity to speak and your work.
Good morning. My name is Christina Datz Romero. I am the Executive Director of the Lower East Side Ecology Center, and I'd like to thank Chair Abreu to hold this hearing today and to make community composting in his first meeting give us such a prominent place. And it was really interesting to hear the DSNY testimony because they thanked us a lot for our work leading up to this milestone. But, you know, we've proven again and again that we are there to really do the hard work on the ground, to get really people literal about and engaged in community composting. And now is not the time to cut these programs. If anything, they are needed more than ever because we have a huge task in front of us to really convince people to compost. Just because you provide a brown bin doesn't mean that people are going to just participate. There are a lot of hurdles, as DSNY has acknowledged, and we are part and parcel of that. We have been part and parcel of that for the last 30 years, at least in some cases, and we are looking forward with the support of the council to continue that work. And I just want to also mention, really appreciate you bringing up the Canarsie build-out because sanitation has invested probably over $1 million in the design fees that went with this program, and now we need to bring it over the finish line. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you all for your time. Our next panel will be Justin Green, Courtney Sheffer, and Eric Goldstein. Is Courtney present? Oh, yeah, okay. If the light is red, it's on. You may begin. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Justin Green. I'm the Executive Director of Big Reuse. I'm here to testify to restore the budget for community composting programs. First, I'd like to thank Chair Abreu for your support for community composting, your support for environmental work in the city, and for this hearing. I also want to thank our many other supporting council members. We really have seen broad support throughout the council for community composting, and it's been great. We also applaud DSNY's rollout of organic waste collection and expansion of the Fresh Kills composting facility. We are concerned about DSNY's co-digestion of food waste with sewage in AD because it undermines community participation by not actually making compost, as you pointed out. It supports ongoing fossil fuel infrastructure at National Grid and produces a digestate which concentrates microplastics and over 700 chemicals in leftover digestates, which reduces its usability and is of questionable beneficial use. Big Reuse has been a dedicated partner of DSNY Compost Project for the last decade. Before the elimination of our funding in December, we annually composted 2.2 million pounds of organic waste from parks, leaf and yard waste, and food waste at 3 community-based sites, produced over 1,000 cubic yards that went to over 300 groups, parks, and street tree care events, benefiting and engaging tens of thousands of New Yorkers. DSNY budget cuts forced us to lay off 10 curbside organic waste staff and 7 community composting staff. We have temporary emergency private funding that have allowed us to keep on 3 staff, but the funding runs out in May. With a budget of $1.8 billion, DSNY can easily afford to support community organizations and the botanical gardens, as they have for the last 30 years, to continue community-based programs uplifting composting. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Courtney Sheffer.
Hi, my name is Courtney Scheffler. I'm a proud member of the Grow NYC Workers Collective, a labor union with the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union. I work as a compost coordinator and driver with Grow NYC, and together with our partners at the New York City Compost Project, we serve communities throughout the 5 boroughs by providing food scrap collections, processing, outreach, education, access, and finished compost. Our workers provide essential work, waste diversion services to neighborhoods all over the city. The City Council must fight to fully restore this program by ensuring sufficient funding for community composting in this budget, and also mandating that this program exists through legislation. We are asking for organics to be processed hyper-locally to where they are produced through community composting over anaerobic digestion for the health of our neighborhoods and for our livelihoods. 45 of my coworkers are facing imminent layoffs, and I will be living paycheck to paycheck, but with half of my paycheck gone with the loss of this programming. This program, it's not expensive. It constitutes only 0.3% of the city's sanitation budget. And we've been here before. There were budget cuts to community composting during the pandemic, and every week I was asked when compost would return, when compost would be accessible. I worked at Parkchester Green Market in the Bronx. Food scrap drop-off sites there were the first to be cut and the last to be restored. It was up to us to build trust with workers that was broken with communities, and we are chronically disappointing and breaking that trust with communities when we are facing budget cuts like this. Investing in communities is always worth it, especially those that are disproportionately experiencing environmental injustice. It is a disgrace to cut these programs that are just beginning to remedy barriers to waste equity in the Bronx, and Smart Bins alone will not exemplify waste equity by any means. This comes just as our union has entered negotiations for our first contract to make our workplace truly sustainable.
Your time has expired.
I know you're like 2 sentences are finishing, so you can finish.
Sure. Instead of negotiating our first contract as a union, we're also negotiating for our jobs, funding the New York City Compost Project, and these programs at Grow NYC. It's a means for this administration to realize its proposed environmental objectives. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Chair Abreu. Congratulations on assuming leadership of the committee. You're off to a great start with this hearing. I'm going to summarize my written testimony. New York City will never have a sustainable and equitable waste disposal program if it can't get organics processing right. The council, to its credit, passed Local Law 85 of 2023, but mandating curbside alone won't do the trick. As Claire Mifflin said earlier, we have to change behavior. And if you want to do that, you need to engage and inspire people. Community composting does that. We're delighted to hear of your commitment to fully fund the community compost program in the FY25 budget. Beyond that, the entire decades-long effort to get organics out of landfilling and incinerators is not going to succeed unless we identify sufficient capacity to process organics in or close to the 5 boroughs. Anaerobic digestion won't do it. While it may be better than landfilling and incineration, it doesn't provide the broad environmental benefits and presents a variety of environmental and operational challenges, as the repeated snafus at Newtown Creek Sewage Treatment Plant digesters have demonstrated. Yet the city has dawdled for 20 years in getting additional capacity for composting other than the recently announced expansion of Freshkills composting facility. The city slashed, as I indicated, funding for community composting. The golden opportunities to expand composting at Governor's Island with Earth Matter and at Rikers Island have yet to be seized. The city's Parks Department has ignored existing laws, and most parks have not even managed to compost even their own leaf and yard waste. In over 2 decades, the mandates of the 2006 Solid Waste Management Plan to set up a compost siting facility have gone by the wayside, nor has the 2006 Solid Waste Management Plan mandate to rebuild marine transfer stations to handle processing of all kinds of solid waste, including organics, been completed. Finally, at least for now, NRDC strongly supports Intro 55, which would direct the Sanitation Department to begin accepting and processing commercial solid waste at city-owned marine transfer stations and rail transfer stations, and using these facilities, city facilities, to ship wastes out of the city that can't be recycled and can't be composted is the most significant step the council could take to reduce the concentration of waste facilities in already overburdened environmental justice communities. Thank you for your leadership. We look forward to working with you and the entire committee staff in the weeks and months ahead.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you to this panel. Appreciate it. And I would also like to recognize Councilmember Gail Brewer.
Thank you. Our next panel will be Winston Wong, Lena Trey, and Carol Robbins. After that panel, we will have Eric Menjivar, Celeste Perez, and Sarah Feigelman. Hi, Winston, you may begin. Thank you. Please, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Please turn on your microphone.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Winston Wong. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Afterlife Ag. We are a micro hauler, but also a circular mushroom farm based out of Queens in New York. We essentially upcycle organic waste and turn it into a substrate to grow mushrooms that we provide back to restaurants, schools, food distributors, grocery stores locally within New York City. And then after harvesting, our spent mushroom substrate is actually donated to parks and gardens across New York City as well. So our mission is to divert more organic waste from going to landfills. We're expanding and growing thousands of pounds each week starting March later this year. So we're, our customers are really excited to see that we're providing them something that they can reuse as part of their establishments that's local, fresh, and healthy to eat. And we understand that waste management is really costly, which is why there's a massive opportunity to invest in innovations like ours that is new and provide more value with organic waste. We work with companies like Cogent Waste Solutions to essentially take their organic waste and develop more value out of them. So I'm excited to see that there's plans to revise Local Law 146, and I would love to see more businesses source separate their organic waste in the city, and also more support for startups like ours to be able to create more value with organic waste so that we can do more with climate justice. That's all. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. And you may begin.
Hi. Good morning, Chair Abreu and Council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Lena Fry, and I am a proud member of the Grow NYC Workers Collective, represented by RWDSU. I have worked as a compost coordinator at Grow NYC for over 4 years, and it is a job that I love. I feel so much pride because while this work is literally dirty, the services that we provide to New Yorkers make this city a cleaner, healthier, and more resilient place to live and work. Because the city defunded Grow NYC's contract, me and my union coworkers will be unemployed as of May 20th. This is the second time that we have faced this. This is the second time in just 3 months that I have sat here and testified for the city to let me and my coworkers keep our jobs, to let us keep providing vital services to communities across the 5 boroughs. I will not sit back and let my coworkers and I lose our jobs without a fight, and I am asking for the City Council to do the same. The work that we do, along with our partners at the New York City Compost Project, is distinct and complementary to the existing DSNY services. Our work makes composting accessible to people who do not have brown bin service, as millions of New Yorkers do not. Our drop-off sites can be used by people without smartphones, and for those of us who live in areas without a single smart bin within miles, like myself. Every week, I speak to people whose landlords refuse to participate in the curbside service, preferring to risk a future menial fine, and to those whose large apartment buildings have just one single bin, which is woefully insufficient. For these countless New Yorkers, community composting is their only option. The council must fully restore funding to this essential program in order to save union jobs and livelihoods. We should not rely on private donations to fund basic, inexpensive, and popular city services. Funding for community compost must be mandated through legislation to ensure it can thrive beyond the opaque pendulum swing of city budget contracts, which we fight for year after year. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. You may begin.
My name is Carol Robbins, and I'm just a big compost fan. I think that composting should be a no-brainer, and I believe that all New Yorkers should be made aware of that. Smelly garbage, gone. Rats, gone. Methane leaking into our atmosphere from landfills, gone. I think if the whole world would go along with composting, we'd be a long way towards saving our planet. It's one of the easiest, cheapest, and safest ways to do it. No mining, no factories, just healthy soil, plants, and trees, just the way nature always meant it to be.
Are you a poet? It was beautifully written.
I'm not.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Our next panel will be Eric Menjivar, Celeste Perez, and Sarah Feigelman. If there's anyone else who would like to testify in person, please check in with the sergeant at arms at the back of the room and fill out one of these blue slips. If I don't have your name on one of these slips, I cannot call you to testify. Thank you. Eric, you may begin.
Good morning, Chair Abreu and members of the Sanitation Committee who might be listening in, among them my Councilwoman Vicky Palladino. My name is Eric Menjivar, and I'm a proud member of the Bargaining Committee of the Grow NYC Workers Collective, represented by RWDSU. I work as a compost coordinator for Grow NYC, and along with my colleagues of the Zero Waste programs, we serve the City of New York by providing food scrap collections, compost outreach, education access, and finished compost. I would like to thank Chair Abreu for your comments today in support of community composting, and we as a union look forward to speaking with you along the budget process. And I'm also happy to see different proposals and resolutions that encourage composting and to provide some sort of infrastructure. But with all due honesty, we already had an infrastructure for organics collection and community composting. That was the New York City Compost Project. The Blessed Plan for Infrastructure is a collaboration of local organizations who collect food scraps, process them, and provide compost for our parks, homes, gardens, and farms. Instead of building off of this infrastructure with the brown bin system and smart bin system, instead we are solely focusing on those two processes and ignoring community composting. That in itself is an injustice. This morning we've been hearing disparaging comments from leadership of DSNY, which is not uncommon, as I was here last year testifying and hearing these same exact comments, as well as vagueness about plans for the future of composting and organics collection. We already have the solution that to provide composting for all New Yorkers. And what this council needs to do is advocate more for the restoration of funding and also to fight against the vagueness and also the intolerance that is being provided by DSNY. To best serve the needs of our communities, the City Council must advocate not only for the restoration of the program, but also for the legislation in order to ensure the existence of the program for years to come. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So good afternoon now. My name is Celeste Perez. I am the State Climate Policy Manager at the New York City Environmental Justice Alliance, also known as NEJA, and we are also a member of the Transform Don't Trash Coalition. In New York City, over 15,000 tons of garbage are produced daily, generating massive transportation impacts to and from privately owned and operated waste transfer stations along the waterfront. The current solid waste system is an ongoing environmental injustice in which 75% of the city's private waste is still trucked in and out of just 4 community districts, some of which have the highest rates of asthma, such as North Brooklyn, the South Bronx, and Southeast Queens. For this reason, NEJA is here to express our strong support of intro number 55, which would require DSNY to begin using municipal marine transfer stations to accept commercial waste. Passage of this legislation would hasten the long overdue transition of New York City's polluting truck-based waste export system to a water barge-based system, where one barge can replace the capacity of 48 18-wheel tractor-trailer long-haul trucks, which is equivalent to 96 truck trips, from spewing pollutants into local streets. While the total amount of waste handled at private transfer stations in New York City has decreased approximately 17% since the implementation of Local Law 152 of 2018, newly released data from the Department of Sanitation shows that the system is still remaining grossly unfair and unequal. Private waste transfer stations are more likely to be sited in communities with a higher percentage of people of color living below the poverty line and bring with them health-harming emissions, according to the New York City Comptroller's recently released audit report on the city's fair share compliance. While there are 24 waste facilities crammed into these overburdened community districts, a total of 45 other districts have no waste facilities at all. We urge Mayor Adams and the City Council to take immediate steps to relieve these communities of excessive truck traffic, pollution, and odors, while reducing the miles that are dangerous and polluting waste trucks all through the New York City streets by passing Intro 55 of 2024. And NEJA, alongside TDT, looks forward to continuing engagement with the Committee on Sanitation, council members representing impacted communities to ensure that we can continue to make rapid progress towards a more just and equitable waste system. Thank you.
Good morning, City Council. I'd like to start by thanking those council members thus far that have supported the funding of community composting. Thanks again. I'm here today to address the city's decision to cut New York City's state-of-the-art community composting program by 100% and report on the community impact it has had thus far, specifically in the community of East New York, who has suffered heavy loss by your cuts. Please allow me to share. For context, I am the compost program manager at East New York Farms, a nonprofit organization located in East New York, Brooklyn. Our mission is to organize youth and adults to address food justice in our community by promoting local sustainable agriculture and community-led economic development. East New York has the highest concentration of community gardens in all of New York City, and they also have a disproportionately high levels of contaminated soil, food insecurity due to historic redlining, civic divestment, and environmental racism and injustice. Now for composting, the East New York Farms Compost Program collects food scraps locally from residents and community-based organizations, and we process them into rich, nutritious black gold compost. We distribute compost directly to community members and gardens in our neighborhood to help restore their soil and supplement organic nutrients for gardeners to allow their own resilient food system without pesticides or chemicals. Our compost operation is small, however, we process about 6,000 pounds of food scraps by hand each season. We are also currently the only available food scrap drop-off site in East New York, as Grow NYC was forced to close their Cypress Hills operation this past week. Big Reuse, who has supported our capacity limitations for producing compost, has helped us collect well over 12,000 pounds of food scraps this season from drop-off sites stationed in East New York, meaning the New York City Compost Project has tripled the amount of food scraps that East New Yorkers diverted from the landfill, meeting community members' increased demand to compost in East New York. With their support, 2023 was our most successful year on record for community composting, just in time for city budget cuts to take it all away. I'd like to conclude by reinforcing that New York City has one of the oldest and certainly the most impressive community composting initiative in our country. Our organization has attended conferences and events where New York City compost programming is presented as an example for the rest of the US and world to follow. It is impossible for New York City to maintain this title without continuing to fund community composting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have one remaining panelist who will testify in person, Christopher Leon Johnson. You may approach the dais. Please keep in mind testimony is limited to 2 minutes.
Ready?
And, excuse me, and please also keep in mind that members of the public should not be filming or
All right, no
taking
problem.
photos
I'll
of
take this one.
themselves during testimony.
Sean, my boy, you my guy. I'll take it off. My
Thank
guy,
you.
my guy. That's my guy. I respect. That's my guy. All right. What's up, Sean? What's up, Sean Brady? What's up? My name is Christopher Leon Johnson. So I'm in favor for the bill that's to increase the fines for littering. Now, my thing with the chair, I know you're the new chair for sanitation, but you deserve to be the chair because you really was out in the fights in the last session when Sandy was the chair, now she's chair. Criminal justice, I think, is more suitable for her. I mean, but you're more suitable for the position here. But this is my thing, right? I think that you're the chair with the help of Sandy Nurse and a few of these other council members need to introduce a bill to start giving people incentives for reporting littering. Just like how you give incentives for reporting dumping and reporting idling, you should give people incentives for reporting littering, right? It doesn't matter if people, you increase the bill to $500. Like I said, if you start putting in more initiatives, like with idling, giving people, what was it, 25% of the, I think it's 25%, correct me, committee council, 25% of the fee.
We can look into that.
Yeah, 25%, all right, that amount of money, people start, be reporting more littering. The problem is people feel they can do what they do because the cops don't enforce the law and the sanitation police don't enforce the law either. So without real sanitation enforcement and real inspiration of sanitation enforcement, that means like giving people money for telling on people, giving people money for snitching. I like that word. You have to, it's not going to do anything. So like I said, it's good to increase the fines. We need money for the city. We have a big crisis going on, but you have to start sensitizing people for reporting this stuff because there's no point in reporting if people not getting paid. If people getting paid for this stuff, oh, trust me, you'll get a lot of reporting of littering and idling and dumping and et cetera. So just like how you report, get like this, $200 for a letter, like you find business letters per letter, you need to do the same thing. $300, 25%, that'd be great for anybody that didn't need the money.
Mr. Johnson, thank you so much for your testimony.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Have I inadvertently missed anyone who would like to testify in person? Seeing none, we'll move on to Zoom testimony. Our first panelist will be Alex Hayden. Please keep in mind that testimony should be limited to 2 minutes, and please maintain decorum and stay on topic. Thank you.
Yo, what the heck is going on in New York City? I saw a bunch of Venezuelan immigrants literally cooking rats the other day on the sidewalk. I'm out there. I got my wife and her boyfriend. We're walking down the street, and my wife's boyfriend's eating some of these
Excuse me,
Venezuelan rats.
please stay on topic. Please stay on topic.
Well, that's about the sanitation problem. Y'all got these big rats, got these big ass rats in New York City, bunch of fentanyl needles everywhere. I'm on the subway system. I almost got a fentanyl needle in my dairy air. So I'm on subject. I'm sick of you idiot New Yorkers letting this city crash and burn. It's worse than a 139 11. You can't even walk down the street. And it's your fault, you dumb bureaucrats, and that's why I can stop with fentanyl needles. You guys are too cowards to do anything about it. Baby back bitches, all of y'all, you know that. Remember Eric Adams, baby back bitch? Always
Excuse
in the
me,
nightclub.
please maintain decorum.
Yeah, but why don't you help us? Please. All right? So, listen to a bunch of city council women like you and trying to tell me what to do. Every person on that council is dumb, and y'all are ruining this city. Y'all need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Y'all feel me? I'm Granddad, my dad, on the blip, and I love New York City. And I hate what y'all are doing to it. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's my time. I'll yield the rest.
Thank you.
Next, we will have Andy Blancero.
Starting time.
Andy Blancero, are you available on Zoom to testify? Andy, you may begin.
Yes, sorry, you had me muted there for a second. Tough act to follow there. I'm a Staten Islander and a former instructor of the Master Composter course. I want to say good afternoon and thanks to everybody for engaging in this important conversation. As I said, I'm a Staten Islander, and I want to mention that the pilot program for the curbside collection was launched here on Staten Island, and it was only as successful as it was due to Master Composter promotion, outreach, education, and participation. Master Composters are dedicated volunteers recruited, trained, and managed by the Department of Sanitation that help to increase diversion rates and acted as frontline representation for the Department of Sanitation to enable the success of, say, pilot programs about curbside compost collection. Their reward after all this work is to be thanked, but really somewhat spurned and dismissed as elitists or as true believers. I happen to spend some time out in Seattle working with the Tilt Alliance, the origins of the Master Composter program that New York City designed their program after. And the number one thing that they teach out there is that it is not possible to compost food scraps within the city limits. They describe it as dangerous. Because of this removal of this waste stream as a resource for the community, I observed underutilized community gardens and other community spaces and a reliance on commercial and industrial compost that was in poor quality, but without a populace that was able to identify it as poor quality because they lacked the tactile, visual ability to understand what good compost looks like. I want to say a little bit more about community gardens and community spaces. These are great ways of understanding community composting, and it reveals why the Department of Sanitation preferred metrics of tonnage and yardage and number of people reached are wrong-headed. The value of community gardens are not measured by the tonnage of food they produce or the percentage of New York City residents that they feed. There are less tangible, less trackable, certainly.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have Anita Chan.
Starting time.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anita, and I'm a lifelong New York City resident, a composter, Earth Matter New York board member, and a member of 350 NYC Waste Not. I've cared about being responsible for my waste since I was a kid because my family taught me not to litter and to throw out trash in the right places. And as a teenager, I was introduced to community composting through East New York Farms, a community organization composting at a local level. As we discuss New York City's infrastructure for handling and processing organic waste, I want to emphasize that we cannot do so without including community composting. The mayor's recent budget cuts caused a lot of green jobs to be cut, and it is a huge setback to organic waste diversion, improving street cleanliness, rat mitigation, and New York City's progress towards sustainability goals. Where I live, there are brown bins from the organic curbside collection program and orange bins from the smart bin program, but they cannot replace the green bins at community food scrap drop-off sites, and all of the staff who engage and educate the public and encourage them to participate. I do support having universal and diversified access to organic waste diversion, but the current state of the brown bins and the smart bins is a waste of money without robust compost education, much of which was conducted by the now defunded New York City Compost Project. But the host organizations, Earth Matter, Big Reuse, Lower East Side Ecology Center, and the Botanical Gardens remain resilient, but they do require additional funding to sustain and grow their positive impacts. GrowNC and numerous other nonprofits have also massively contributed and continue to do so through community engagement, education, food scrap collection, and local processing. While it is true that the capacity of existing composting sites cannot handle all of the organic waste that is produced in the city, turning organic matter into compost locally should be prioritized as a method of organic waste diversion above anaerobic digestion, and certainly above landfilling and incineration. We need to cut
Thank you
down
so
on the
much. Your
miles.
time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Anna Sachs.
Starting time.
Hi, my name is Anna Sachs. I'm the legislative chair of Manhattan Solid Waste Advisory Board and a member of Save Our Compost Coalition, but I'm testifying today on behalf of myself. I appreciate the recognition that DSNY gave to community composting, but lip service does not pay the bills, and this is an expensive city to live in. I think that it's great that so far there has been private philanthropy supporting community composting after DSNY and the mayor defunded it completely, but private philanthropy is actually going to expire soon. It doesn't bring Big Reuse, LES, and Earth Matter to June. They're actually having to rely on cash reserves, which are really meant for only a true emergency, not a manufactured emergency. And private philanthropy, as I think we can intuitively understand, is more for something like the opera or the arts, museums. Private philanthropy does not want to fill in these gaps, sanitation gaps, where it's a public good and the city should itself be funding these programs. So there isn't private philanthropy coming through. There is not going to be more. And so I think that that was really misleading for the department to say that. We're asking for $7 million to be restored for community composting. This is 0.006% of New York City's budget. It is a rounding error of a rounding error. I don't agree with the argument that we don't have this money. Somehow we have the money for $500 million for encrypted New York NYPD radios, but we don't have money, $7 million for community composting. It doesn't make sense. We will not have success in the brown bin program if we do not have community composting, if we don't have the education outreach. And so we're investing millions of dollars in this new program that we really do want to succeed, and yet we're not investing in the education outreach needed for it to succeed. I also am upset with this trend that New York City environmental programs are repeatedly viewed as nice to have, but not need to have, and they're the first to be cut whenever there's an
Thank you so much. Your time has expired.
Thank you. Next will be Lonnie Portis.
Starting time.
There we go. Thank you, Councilmember and Chair Sean Abreu, for holding this hearing. I'm going to be brief, give an abbreviated version of my written testimony, but WEACT is, I'm Lonnie Portis. I'm the New York City Policy and Advocacy Manager at WEACT for Environmental Justice. WEACT is a proud member of the Save Our Compost Coalition, which is a coalition of New York City organizers working together to support and expand community composting to uplift environmental and climate justice. WEACT urges the City Council Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste Management to work closely with the New York City Department of Sanitation to build a holistic, robust infrastructure to collect, transport, and process organic waste that prioritizes microhauling, community composting, and healthy soil creation. The city needs to be strategic and purposeful when building out this infrastructure. The foundation of that infrastructure should be community composting. Community composting maximizes the potential for diverse and beneficial uses, creating healthy soil to increase the benefits of green infrastructure, which include street trees, rain gardens, and parks, which also reduce flooding and they also cool their neighborhoods. This does not only foster environmental sustainability, but also contributes to the creation of vibrant and healthy and resilient communities. New York City is undergoing a cultural shift when it comes to how households, buildings, and the city handle organic waste. Community composting operators are vital to increase participation in all composting-related programs through their valued outreach and education effort. The city has the opportunity to build infrastructure to handle and process organic waste that is climate and environmentally just. It's our hope that the City Council and this committee work with DSNY to ensure this with well-planned infrastructure that New York City can make significant progress towards zero waste goals and create healthy soil that we can reinvest into our community gardens and parks.
Thank you, Lonnie.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Samantha McBride.
Starting time.
Good morning. I am Dr. Samantha McBride, professor at Baruch College and former DSNY analyst and manager. It is with immense respect to Committee Chair Abreu and council members, First Deputy Commissioner Lohan, and my former DSNY colleagues that I speak today. I have conducted a performance analysis of the department's newly relaunched residential curbside organics collection program in the borough of Queens. Using monthly tonnages on open data, the city's 2017 waste characterization study, and U.S. Census data, I have analyzed performance using metrics that are standard to the waste management industry and used in municipalities across America. My analysis found the following. In 2023, only 4.3% of the residential curbside organics that could have been collected in Queens for composting or anaerobic digestion were in fact collected. The rest, 95.7%, went out with the trash. The 4.3 rate is called the capture rate. In 2023, when all of Queens had the simple universal program that was described earlier, an estimated 300,000 tons of compostable organics went out for disposal with Queens Refuse. In pounds, that is 600 million pounds. These quantities moved through Queens transfer stations. They ended in landfills and waste-energy incinerators in eastern United States. For comparison, about 12,700 tons or 25 million pounds of residential curbside organics were collected for composting or anaerobic digestion locally. Furthermore, the capture rate, the per household generation rate for
Thank you
separated
so much.
organics.
Your time has expired.
Thank you all for your testimony. If you wish to submit written testimony, you may do so on the council website. We had some other names registered to testify via Zoom. If you are present, please use the raise hand function and I will call you. Eben Falconer, Yvonne Yee, Serena Naji, Amy Platzmer, and Justin Wood. And seeing no hands on Zoom, we have concluded public testimony. I'll pass it over to our chair.
Thank you, everybody, for your testimony. This hearing is hereby adjourned.